Alright, hey everybody, coming at you with a new video. I was going to go live with this, but I think I'll just keep it to recording a video and letting you guys respond, and I hope you will, and I hope you'll share and whatever. I don't like to do these kind of videos, but every so often I think they're necessary to address the peanut gallery, so that's what this is. I guess this was due to happen, and I'll explain what I'm talking about below. But what I'm talking about, I'm calling this video Now It's My Turn, but that's a double entendre meaning, because what I mean by that is it's my turn to be targeted this way, which I'll get to, but now it's also my turn to respond. So you take a swing at me and you miss, I'm going to hit back, and I'm not going to miss. So this is what I have in mind. So this is a response video, so buckle up, Buttercup, and I hope you'll watch it and give it its due attention, and please give me your responses below. I'm interested in the comments. I'm quite earnestly interested in the comments, actually. So people online, especially on social media, keep creating these ridiculous and false narratives with ad hominem attacks. If you don't like the Latin term, it just means personal attacks on people. Seems to be lately, if you don't like the message, then you attack the messenger, and especially attack their appearance. Even if the ridiculousness is completely obvious and transparent, you'll be surprised how many followers you can get to see whatever you want them to see, as in the emperor does have clothes versus the emperor doesn't have any clothes. So ridiculous stuff. People just don't like to hear the truth about their bad habits, so what they do is twist and turn and turn everything around. So I'm going to ask you for a few things here. I'm about to post a few pictures of a few people, and I want you to be honest and just write down or comment your very first impressions of what you see in these pictures. Like the first thing that pops into your head, let me know what you see. Then I'll tell you the topic of this video, and then I will get to the guts of my response, that now it's my turn. So first impressions, be honest. What are your first impressions of the people in these pictures? Let's start first with Ollie. Ollie is a client of mine in his 40s, and this is a picture of him like just fresh out the press on his way to work. I asked him to send me a picture that I could use for this video webinar. He knows what it's all about, so he was good with that. So that's a picture of my client Ollie. I put two pictures side by side. He's getting ready for work, and Ollie is in his 40s, wife, kids, the whole deal, real life, real job, real person. Then let's put a picture up of Ange. Ange is 48 years old. This is a recent picture of her when we were in Aruba, and we can put a couple other more recent pictures up there as well. I'm going to post some pictures of me next and get to the heart of the matter, but those two pictures I'm posting as well, and then I think we'll start the pictures of me. Here's a picture of Ange and I together in Aruba. This was going out for a night on the town at the Hard Rock Cafe, so this is a picture of us together. Again, what's your first impressions? What do you see? What does it make? Don't think too much about it, but what do you see in these pictures of Ollie, of Ange, and myself? Okay, so now I'm going to put up 5 or 6 recent pictures of myself in no particular order. We'll put them up slowly, leave them on the screen for a few seconds. So here I am in various shots that we've taken really recently. There's even a shot there of me in the dungeon working out. You can see some vascularity happening, and you can just see me sort of sitting around. I'm not sure what pictures we're going to end up using, but they're all recent. I'm just keeping it real, keeping it honest. So we'll put these up on the screen. We'll leave them there for a second. And again, what's your first impressions of the picture of Ange and I together, these pictures of myself, and the pictures you saw of my client Ollie? So what do we all have in common? Well, here's the crux of this video. Now it's my turn. What we all have in common is we've been attacked recently for not looking healthy. Lately, I've been attacked for looking unhealthy and frail and weak. But we'll talk about Ange and Ollie here first. One of the things that made me want to do this video is I hear from Ollie a lot about how hard it is for him to navigate his social milieu, because he gets teased all the time, not just for what he eats, but for what he won't eat. And this is by people who, of course, aren't as lean as Ollie is, but it's constant barrage of, little veiled insults of people who, of course, are overweight when he isn't. Ange as well, Ange is 48 years old. I think she looks pretty good, but she's had the same kind of insults. Well, if we want to call them insults, we've had the same kind of comments hurled at her at all. And then most recently, the reason I wanted to do this video, pictures of me, and I guess now it's my turn. This was due to happen because I've seen it online a lot with the people that I follow for information and good research, etc. So recently a person made a comment that I look weak and I look frail and I look very unhealthy, and according to this person, people are worried about me. And of course, when pressed for what people, name some names, of course no names are mentioned. So this whole thing, of course, is a crock. But when someone says such nonsense, then it's out there. So whether people have been following, not following me, they're on another social media platform with other people, and they just believe what they're told. So apparently I look. Do I? Seriously? I mean, what's your opinion? Do I look sickly? Do I look unhealthy? Do I look weak and frail to you? Yes, this is a false narrative, and I'm going to get into it, and I'm not just going to leave it up to opinion. I'm going to give you some real-world examples and real-world facts for you to consider as well. Now, I was going to use pictures of other people from the plant-based community that have similarly been attacked. Ryan from Happy Healthy Vegan, one of the reasons I had him on my podcast was because I couldn't take the insults that were being hurled at him by his appearance, trying to create a false narrative that he looks so unhealthy and everything, when he looks healthy as all get out for a guy in his 50s. Shows him dunking a basketball, playing hardcore basketball, whatever, and yet the person attacking him posts no pictures of herself, especially recent ones. And then Mike the Vegan is attacked all the time. That guy born to do what he does online, posting research and making cogent arguments, and he's attacked all the time. People trying to say on how unhealthy he looks, and again, Dr. Neil Bernard, 66 years old, one of the healthiest people I've seen online lecturing, and Dr. Angie, who I also had on my podcast, the same kind of nonsense has been hurled at her. She recently was doing an appearance, I forget where it was, but she was on a red carpet in an evening gown, a drop-dead knockout in her 40s, and yet someone trying to say she looks weak and frail and unhealthy. It's absolutely ridiculous, and now it's my turn. Now this nonsense has been aimed at me, and apparently I look weak and I look frail and I look unhealthy. So this, of course, comes from the bodybuilding subculture, who filter everything through how much muscle a guy or gal carries, and anything short of jacked is unhealthy looking. To that I say, seriously, these people just can't deal with the fact that someone like me would leave that world and not care about how much muscle I do or don't carry for the rest of my life. So this is exactly that kind of bias is one of the reasons that I left that world and its utter shallowness. But that's okay. I get on with getting on, and I'm out to try to help as many people as I can. But at 58 years old, which I am now, I think I hold up fairly well appearance-wise. And I'm going to give you a couple examples that are very pertinent to my response. Now it's my turn, so I'm going to give you a couple anecdotes. I don't like telling stories about myself that make myself look good. I find that stuff, a little embarrassing. But it's pertinent to this argument, so I'm going to do it. My doctor, after my last blood test, when I went in, get my prescription renewal, etc., reading my blood test, my own doctor was asking me about how I eat, how I exercise, commenting how good I look, keep up the good work, wow, that kind of stuff. That's from my own doctor, who sees people my age all the time. Now, here's another anecdotal story that'll is really pertinent. Don't forget, the person that posted this, that I look weak and I look frail and I look unhealthy and people are worried about me, I haven't seen in over 25 years. This person hasn't seen me at all. So let's talk about someone who saw me in real life, in a real person. A little story from not this trip I just took to Aruba, but last year's trip to Aruba. I ran into a client that was a client of mine way back in the early 90s, so like some 25 years later. And interestingly enough, the way we ended up running into each other was his story to tell. He couldn't wait to tell me. So here's the story, and here's why it's relevant to this topic that apparently I somehow look weak and frail and unhealthy. So Ange and I were walking the beach in Aruba, as we are wont to do on our vacations. And a man comes up to me and asked me if I recognize him. Shook my hand, etc., etc. And I didn't recognize him, of course. Then he told me who he was, and of course I remembered him, but it's a long time ago, 25 years ago. And he said, Scott, I got to tell you the way I just came up to you. He's on vacation in Aruba with his extended family, like 10 or 15 people. He said he was getting his lounge chairs ready. They're watching the beach. And he says he saw Ange and I walking the beach. And he said he turned to his wife and he said, wow, look at that guy. That guy's like obviously older than me. Look how good he looks. I got to talk to that guy and find out what he's doing. And that's what made him start walking toward me. And then he said he started laughing. The closer he got, he went, my God, that's Abel. I can't believe it. And he was all excited he got there. But the reason he came up to me to begin with is he saw me from a distance walking the beach in my late 50s and said, wow, that guy looks awesome. I have to talk to him about how awesome he looks. And he walked up to me to say that. So apparently we have a paradox here. Someone that saw me in real life in a bathing suit, not hiding anything, thought I was awesome enough that he just had to talk to me. And yet someone who hasn't seen me in almost 25 years or whatever, who only sees me online, that person and other people are concerned about how weak and frail and unhealthy I look. So very, very ridiculous, as you can see where I'm going. But now it's my turn. So we're going to get there. Not just my turn to be attacked, but my turn to respond. So ironically enough, as I thought about doing this video, in the last few years, the people I've met around here and other places who didn't know anything about my bodybuilding past, people like at the grocery stores, people at the bank, the ladies at the hair salon that where I get my hair cut, etc. People that I've run into here and there, my neighbors, they've Googled me, and every single one of them have said, wow, you look way better now. So isn't that ironic? The people that didn't know my bodybuilding past think I look way better now than I did then, and yet, according to this person, I look weak and frail and unhealthy. And I'm going to say this now. I was going to save it to the end, but it's funny that these, ad hominem attacks are only hurled on people who come out about the plant-based diet and eating vegan as much as possible. And I'm going to get to more of that in a minute. But maybe I should still look like this. So here's a picture of me that I can't believe was me, all puffy and bloated at age 44, doing a lecture, and here I am in a white sleeveless t-shirt. You tell me, does that look healthy to you? Or does the current pictures of me, more than almost 15 years later, which looks healthier to you given the age and stuff? So let's put a couple of those pictures side by side, actually. So here I am at age 44, all in my bloom, as I used to like to say. Look at how puffy and bloated I am. Does that look healthy? Does that seem healthy? Maybe I should look like that and satisfy this person and group of people, apparently, that also support this notion that I look weak and frail and unhealthy. Maybe Anne should still look like this. Here's a picture of Anne 60 pounds ago. Maybe people that are telling her that not to her face, that are saying that she looks unhealthy. Maybe they'd be happier if she looked like this 60 pounds ago. Maybe Ollie should still look like this so people at his work and his mates and his friends would stop bothering him and stop pestering him. Maybe he should look like this 100 pounds ago. Maybe people would be more satisfied if he just looked like that. Then they wouldn't have to deal with the commentary. So again, This is completely and utterly ridiculous. And what about inner health? You know, if people want to attack in somehow in their twisted minds these pictures I just showed of how we look now are unhealthy and frail and we look weak. Well, what about inner health? Does that count for anything? Because in my book, Lean Without Trying, I included a chapter on my own blood test, and all of my health indicators were and still are in the healthiest, most ideal range with no deficiencies. Let's put that up on the screen. My blood test, my inner health, all my health indicators are in the healthiest, most ideal range with no deficiencies. So, again, all of my health indicators are in the healthiest, most ideal range with no deficiencies. So how could I possibly look sickly, frail, unhealthy? And I actually did a full webinar with my blood test as well. And here is a link to that webinar. You can check that out. Let's leave the link up there for a little bit. Copy and paste that. And I went through all the indicators. Ooh, carbs make you fat. Carbs and insulin. Well, I talked about my A1C and all the rest of it. You can look at all my testosterone levels. Oh, you're not getting enough protein. It's all in there. Check out that webinar. So we're looking at my outer appearance, current. We're looking at my inner health, current. Oh, and by the way, if you saw my most recent, now here's a little rattlesnake. Here's a little curveball for you if you're still hanging in, because now it's my turn. All right, if I look so sick and frail and unhealthy, if you saw my recent metabolism experiment, I did weigh-ins on a public scale at GNC, and keep in mind I stand just over 5 feet 9 inches tall, and I weighed about 208 pounds. Here's a printout. Here's the tickets of those printouts in case you haven't seen them, and we're going to do a close-up here, but I want you to pay attention to the numbers. Let's zero in on those numbers. So there's my weight at the top where it says your weight, 207 and then 206, and then you see underneath it ideal weight, 160 to 177 pounds. So let's look at that a little. According to this biometric scale, this biometric weight scale, my ideal weight is somewhere between 160 and 177 pounds. So even if I was at the high end of that, 177 pounds, I weigh 30 pounds more than that. 30 pounds more than that. And I would like to think that a lot of that is muscle weight. But can you imagine what the peanut gallery would be peanutting about if I weighed 177 pounds or 160 pounds, which would still be considered ideal weight for my age and my height, yet they're saying that I look weak and sick and frail at over 208 pounds. And we want to know something else. As I was preparing this in my head to do this video, I'm a big NFL football fan. I'm watching an NFL football game the other night, and they were doing a profile on one of the running backs who just got the ball or whatever, so they're saying his name, and he turned out that he was 5'11 and just over 200 pounds. So I'm shorter than him, and I weigh more than him, but somehow I look weak and frail and unhealthy, even though I'm twice his age and carry about the same amount of muscle. And of course, he's a world-class athlete. I'm not saying I'm anywhere in that vicinity or that world, but let's find out how he eats, and then let's decide that he looks weak and frail and unhealthy as well, because he's 200 pounds and he's 5'11. I'm shorter than him and I outweigh him, so he must be really sick and frail and unhealthy. This stuff is absolutely unbelievably unqualified, ridiculous. Even more pathetic, and this bothers me as well, so often the people that launch these ridiculous claims, like I said, the attacks on Ryan and Mike the Vegan, they post no pictures of themselves, and nor recent ones anyway. Trying to find pictures of the people that were saying this about me, the pictures on their social media are 10, 15 years old. So again, I ask, seriously? If you're going to put up, then put up all the way or shut up. So if you're going to say that someone else you're following online looks weak and frail and unhealthy, then put recent pictures of yourself up there and call yourself out and see what other people have to say about that. So it's kind of disingenuous and it's cowardly that these people won't post recent pictures of themselves, but they want to talk about the appearance of other people who will and who are trying to do their best to help people lose weight, get healthy, stay trimmed, have pride in their bodies, because it gives them self insurance and self respect. So here we go. My inner health has been posted. my current appearance has been posted, and my body weight has been posted. I'm upfront about everything, unlike this person who chose to say that I look weak and frail and unhealthy. There it is up front. My inner health I've posted, my body weight I've posted, and constant pictures of myself, eating or out and about, on vacation in Aruba. As a matter of fact, let's throw up that picture of Ange and I again. We'll put that up there for you guys to look at, enjoying a wobbly pop out for dinner in Aruba. I'm 58 years old. Does that look weak, frail, and unhealthy to you? Now look, I may be no Brad Pitt, but I've never been a Brad Pitt. But to claim I look ill or frail or unhealthy is simply beyond ridiculous. And then when we look at the indicators of unhealthy, inside out, medical bioindicators from my blood test, we see that I couldn't be in better health, and it's not possible. Everything, we're in the ideal range with no deficiencies. So only in a world that's this ridiculous can not being overweight be labeled as looking unhealthy. Now let me be clear about this. No one would be saying anything like this about us if all the people, above people, Ange and Ollie and myself, weren't advocates for a plant-based, no animal flesh, no animal protein diet. No one would have any problem with how we look if it wasn't for that. As soon as you add that in, oh, I'm vegan 6 days a week, or I'm plant-based 6 days, oh, I don't eat animals anymore, well, then all of a sudden your weight loss is suspect. So again, would you prefer Ange looks like this? Here's Ange before and here's Ange after. What looks healthier to you? And here's Ollie before and after. As a matter of fact, here's Ollie in some of his old pants. So which looks healthier to you? But no, as soon as you say vegan, then the weight loss look, the after picture, well, that's unhealthy. That just looks unhealthy and weak and frail and whatever. So I can produce dozen more examples. I'm sure people that follow me are going to comment on there of me too, Scott. I look and feel great. Thanks for the plant-based diet. So now it's my turn. This is my response video to claims that I look frail and weak and unhealthy. WTH, really? That's my rant. That's it. Now it's my turn. It was my turn to be attacked in this way with ridiculousness, trying to get people to see through different colored glasses and different eyes. But not only was it my turn to be attacked this way or criticized this way, but it was my turn to respond. So this has been my response video to the notion that I look weak and frail and unhealthy. And hopefully when you look at all these pictures, you can see the ridiculousness of that. Again, this is something that's been hurled at Ange. It's Ollie goes through it all the time with his mates being teased and snide comments or whatever. And look at the weight that he has taken off and kept off and feels healthy. So, and again, if we look at this biometric weigh-in, the healthy ideal range for my weight would be 160 to 177 pounds. I'm anywhere from 30 to 40 pounds heavier than the ideal range with my blood tests that show perfect health. So imagine if I did weigh 160 or 177, what the peanut gallery would be peanutting about. So that's it in a nutshell. I don't like making response videos. Don't like devoting time to nonsense, but every so often when something's aimed particularly at you and then it gets out there and people are saying there's other people that believe me, and they can't even produce these other people, then whatever. So this is my response video at 58 years old. I think I hold my own. And like I said, I use quite a few examples there. And again, check out that webinar I did with my blood tests. I covered every single parameter in there. Or get my book, Lean Without Trying, whatever. But that's my response video that apparently the 58-year-old me looks weak and frail and unhealthy to the point that people are worried about me. And to that I say, never mind the bullocks. Let's get some reality checks going on. So that's it, folks. Let me know what you think down below. I hope you'll respond. Tell me what you see. Tell me if maybe I do look that way. Maybe Ange looks that way. Maybe Ollie looks that way. Whatever, But anyway, that's my response video. Now it's my turn. And hopefully it didn't get too ugly for you. But I'll see you all in the next video.